I just watched this film, Boynton Beach Club.
Okay.
I I love this film so much, and I love the story about your mom, how this came together with your mom and your mom's
Yeah.
participation in it. Can you talk a little bit about this? And your mom is such a fascinating character in your book, in your
Yeah.
memoir, but how this film came to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a film I could have made now that I'm the age of those characters. But back then it was my mom's film. Yeah, my mother's always been an influence on me because she always encouraged me to not be afraid to fail. Maybe that's the best way to put it. To go for something, and if you don't succeed, or if it flops, or if it if it's a disaster, just pick yourself up and try again. And so I was never, and I've had failures, but fortunately, because of my mom's advice or encouragement, I never let them kind of destroy me. And so anyway, over the years, my mother had been sending me, like, cutting out articles from newspapers and sending them to me in the mail. This is pre-internet, right? um, with little sticky notes saying, "Don't you think this would make a good movie?" And sometimes I did, but I didn't think that I would be the best director for that story. And sometimes I didn't think it would make a good movie again for me, or that it didn't interest me. But one day she called me up with this story idea about, because a friend of hers had passed away, and her friend's husband had gone to a bereavement club. I guess he was in his late 60s, early 70s at this time. And suddenly he found himself being hit on by all these women at the bereavement club, because there were, like, 20 women and 3 men. And little by little, he found himself back in the dating game again, at a time when he realized that all the rules had changed. He hadn't been on a date in maybe 30, 40 years, and suddenly he enters this whole new world. So my mother started to tell me about some of his experiences. And as she's talking to me, I thought, well, that would be cool, to make a romantic comedy about older people that was about love, companionship, and also about sex, you know. And I also realized that there were a lot of great older actors that weren't getting movie roles anymore, or maybe they were playing, the lead character's grandmother sitting on a porch in a rocking chair or something. But this would, be a great opportunity to have these actors who were romantic comedy stars in their day, play leading characters in a romantic comedy. So anyway, so she told me this idea, and I was about to leave to go to Canada to make a movie for Showtime. And even though I thought the idea was great, I just didn't have time to think about it. So I said to my mom, "Look, if you like the idea, why don't you write the screenplay?" And my mom said, "I don't know how to write a screenplay." And I said, "Go to Barnes and Noble and buy a screenplay for dummies book and read it, and you know, and give it a shot." And so I went off to make a movie in Canada. I came back 2.5 months later, and there in my mailbox was this thick manila envelope with my mom's screenplay in it. And that's exactly what she had done. So I read it, and what I realized is that, the story structure was a mess. There was a lot of messy, amateurish things about it, but it had so many brilliant moments that I wouldn't have known about, not having gone through that experience and not being that age. That I said, "This is great. I can see this movie. Do you mind if I take it and work with a writing partner named Shelley Gitlow at that time, and if we can just kind of brush it up and turn it into, restructure it, but using and trying to keep all those wonderfully authentic moments." And she said, "Sure." And that's what led to Boynton Beach Club.
That's
I love
insane.
this film so much, and the cast you have with Sally Kellerman and Joseph Bologna and just Brenda
Diana,
Vaccaro.
Brenda Vaccaro. Yeah, they were all like major stars in their time, and it was wonderful to get to work with all of them. Michael Nouri was in it. He had been in Flash
Yes,
in the
he was so
I guess in the
cute.
early 80s. And the film is set in one of those gated communities, 50 plus adult only
Yeah.
communities
Hmm.
in Florida. And so it was kind of a wonderful, colorful setting, um, to, almost like all those communities have these fantasy names like Valencia Isles and Palm Breeze, and these kind of magical fairy tale names. So it seemed like the perfect setting to do this kind of romantic comedy.